Here comes a major life change you didn't see coming. Or maybe you did. The passing of a family member? Divorce? The need to move right away? These events are more than paperwork and a chance for others to be happy it wasn't them. How do you work through something like that with any kind of grace? Listen to how I'm doing it. Again. Hi, I'm the Urban Lady Prepper. I help single moms and solo women with practical emergency preparedness. But of course, all are welcome to become better prepared for whatever happens next. For those following me, you may have noticed that there was no podcast last week. There's a good reason for this. I've had to move. I've moved back to my hometown from Atlanta. My stepdad passed away earlier this year, and my mom asked me to move back to be with her. And you know how it goes. When mom asks you to do something, you do it. If you're single, divorced, or a widow like me, starting over is not only terrifying, but if you've had to start over more than once, it's exhausting and can be demoralizing. These are feelings I'm dealing with yet again. And if you found yourself in a similar position, it's overwhelming. It seems everything is falling apart, and you question every decision you've ever made. Even worse, everyone has an opinion about what you've done, where you're going, and how you're getting there. Even those with the best intentions feed those inner demons that scream what a failure you are and the shame that comes with your plans not working out, even when it's due to things out of your control, and hating yourself for not better handling the things that were. What does this have to do with prepping? The simple answer is that prepping is as much a mental game as a physical one. It's very important to be in the right headspace to make the critical decisions you'll need to make. And being emotionally and mentally resilient is not only going to serve you well in life, but also when your life may depend on it. So, how do you cope with the sudden life change that you're completely unprepared for? How do you overcome the doubts and fears when life doesn't ask you to take a leap of faith, but pushes you over the edge into the abyss? I'm no doctor, and I'm not here to prescribe some miracle solution. But if you want some advice from someone who's been through the fire and is emerging once more still hot and smoking, here are some tips you could take to get through it. Number 1, denial is not your friend. Denial is a time suck that keeps you from addressing the inevitable. This is when being practical and realistic will serve you well. When both of my husbands entered the hospital and I knew neither of them would survive, of course I felt a tremendous sadness. But I knew that my stress levels would only skyrocket if I didn't address the calls I would need to make and the arrangements that had to be set up then. Making a list of the ugly but necessary put my brain in detail mode. I knew doing this would keep me from scrambling when the inevitable happened, when I would not be able to focus or make the best decisions because of the grief when they actually passed away. Number 2, ditch the what-ifs and face the reality of the near future. Regardless of the loss, whether it's a person, a job, or a home, no what-if will change it. Maybe you could have done something differently, but unless you have a time machine, that ship has sailed. The right question isn't what if, but what now? If you didn't have a plan before, now is the time to put one together. What are your options? What are the next steps? Can you call in some favors? How can your support system help you? Gathering that kind of information as soon as possible not only makes you better prepared to act, but it may also give you hope as you realize you have more resources than you thought. Number 3, avoid people and situations that are emotional cinder blocks. This is not the time to hang with people or things that are going to make you feel worse. That relative that means well but complains about your motives and methods? Nope. That friend who lacks empathy and makes everything about themselves? Ew. Social media feeds of happy couples, mansions, and other look at my perfect life videos. Ick. Being dragged into socializing at an event by folks who say, it'll take your mind off of things, where you'll feel forced to smile and act like you aren't on the brink? Hell no. You need those who will provide advice that makes sense, listen to you rant, and hand you tissues when you ugly cry. Those who will soothe you and not let you self-destruct. Anyone not willing to hold you while you whimper and snot into their bosom is not who you need when the situation is at ground zero. You will need to unload at some point or at several points, and these are the people you need, not the ones who are going to bark at you to suck it up when you need that moment to grieve your situation. On my way up to New York, I literally broke down in tears in front of a stranger who was thankfully empathetic. I know that even the most mentally and emotionally strong of us have spent some time crying alone in a corner, and that's because we're human. And while the key is knowing that at some point you have to get out of the corner, you still need to let those feelings flow through you. Which leads me to give yourself grace. That's number 4. Aside from friends and family that will give you emotional support, you can accept accountability without letting self-hatred eat at your soul. Everyone walking this earth has made mistakes, misjudgments, and bad calls. My mom says it all the time. Consider the source. Every person with a snarky remark, an unsympathetic ear, or who is quick to say, well, you should have done such and such, and why didn't you do this, that, and the third, has probably fumbled a life ball you know of that made you wonder what they were thinking. And hey, maybe their caustic take is accurate. But remember, perspective, like context, is everything. You need to forgive yourself and allow yourself to be human while reminding yourself that these people have had their share of screw-ups. Many holier-than-thou takes on your life are more about making themselves feel better, not you. Be willing to give yourself a break because very few others will. And lastly, number 5, you must be your own hero. When I say this to you, it's not coming from a place of self-righteousness or a clinician's perspective, but from a person whose whole life has been a series of do-overs. I know it's easier said than done, but perseverance is a word of motion, and wallowing in stagnant, negative feelings is not going to give you the momentum and clarity you need to face these life changes. You may have received help, but understand that it's very rare that someone will completely save you from the situation you're facing. Once you've made the lists, felt the feelings, and forgiven yourself, it's time to step up and handle your business, especially if you have kids. Yes, you will be judged. Some comments will sting, and some plans will fall through. But you have to decide to make something good out of the situation until you can make something great from it. My husband once told me a very short story 30 years ago that I never forgot. He said, a turtle was sitting on the side of the road when a rabbit raced by with a fox hot on its heels. The turtle asked the rabbit, "Are you going to make it?" The rabbit shouted back, "Man, I gotta make it." So do you. And you can. Keep telling yourself, there is always a way. There is always an answer. There is always an option. When you approach any challenge this way, you're creating a path forward, giving yourself a chance, not giving in. Of course, right now, as I sit in New York, surrounded by stuff that's still unpacked, annoyed at myself and all the stuff I left behind that I have to deal with, and trying not to feel low, I'm in the process of going through these steps. But I've been in this situation before, and I'll make it. Whatever you're dealing with, I hope these steps will help you make it through too. If these suggestions have helped you in any way, please hit that like and subscribe buttons. Those help my channel and will help me as well. I could use some cheering up right about now. Thanks for listening and stay strong. Until next time, this is the Urban Lady Prepper signing off.
I'm sure I've given you some things to think about as you go through the upcoming week. Has this episode resonated with you? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to click the link in the podcast description to get your free Essential Prepper checklist. While there, get one of my cool designs on a shirt, hat, mug, and more at my Redbubble store. Or you can always buy me a coffee or get a Jace case for your emergency medical needs. It helps support what I do, and I really appreciate it. Join me on the socials, especially on YouTube, where I'll be uploading videos for my blogs from urbanladyprepper.com. I appreciate your time with me. Stay safe, stay sharp, and be ready.